Hi, welcome to Similar But Different, the podcast. Let's do that again. Okay. But I'm getting all the benefits.
Without having to pay.
Right.
Yeah, they screwed me. And then I found a bunch of friends that I was different from. I think I'd like the gram more if I got hit up in my DMs.
Okay, this should probably end. Welcome to Similar But Different. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Rach.
How's it going?
Oh, man. It's all right. It's a beautiful day.
You had a birthday recently. I realized
I did.
I didn't want to be rude by not bringing it up when I arrived. But then I was like, I'll ask her
On the pod. Yeah, no, like everybody said it was supposed to be like a big thing. Well, I say everybody, but like a lot of my friends were like, "Oh my God, you're 35, you have to do something."
Right.
And I was like, I just was gonna not do anything.
Yeah.
Like the one thing I want for my birthday every year is I don't cook and I don't clean.
Okay.
And that happened because actually all week I feel like we just like treated ourselves to all of our favorite spots in Richmond, which was kind of nice.
I was going to say, where do you go? But you probably didn't go anywhere. You just ordered.
Gosh, you know me so well. Yeah. Have to bring it back to the pup and eat here in front of the TV like we're savages. But we got, man, where did we
Hold on. I have a side note. I just need to interrupt you. I remember when Nathan first moved in. And you were like, yeah, I know. We just like love eating dinner at the dining room table. We do that every night. And I was like, okay. And I felt it's like a little bit of like, wow, Skylar and I should do that. And then I was like, things will change. And you're like, when we watch in front of the TV. And sometimes we're like, oh, let's have dinner at the table and stuff.
Yep.
But also, if you have like a show you're watching together and you don't hang out all day, it's kind of like your little activity. You get excited to catch up on your show together.
And right now we are watching a show. We're watching The Last Airbender, which I don't know if I would say is the great quality show.
Okay.
We thought, I mean, it's Nickelodeon. So
I was like the cartoon.
The 90s episode got me stuck on. No, it's not a cartoon. Netflix is doing it's still Netflix and Nickelodeon together. And it's like a live action version of Avatar.
Okay.
I would say like the acting and the quality graphics are very similar to like Harry Potter.
Nice.
So that obviously rings a bell with us.
Fantasy world. Yeah.
Huge fans of that. But yeah, so like, yeah, you're exactly right. If we have a show to watch, we're going to eat dinner in front of the TV. Sometimes if it's like certain meals, you can't eat in front of the TV. Like if you're cutting a steak.
Yeah.
We're not eating that in front of the TV.
Or unless you do the toddler method and you cut it up in the kitchen.
Oh,
and then you bring it.
I was like, what's the toddler method? Now I'm like, I know exactly. Yeah. We don't do that.
Yeah.
No. But we don't need to go into all the food. The 35th birthday is not as big of a deal as some people want it to be. I literally had no plans and then wound up last weekend, went to Topgolf.
Okay.
With the high school crew. Yeah. And that was actually really fun because I was like recently cleared with my knee to start trying to play golf.
Exciting.
So I used it as an excuse to actually like see how it was going to feel. Yeah. And then I wound up playing golf 9 holes on Friday.
How was that?
It went really well, actually.
Good.
Like it wasn't, so I'm not allowed to swing 100%.
Yeah.
But
that's also nice for if you do poorly, you're like, my knee. It's actually
it makes you play better.
Handicap.
It makes you play better. Like tips out there. I've been trying to kill it, which means I speed up my swing and my backswing. This is all probably irrelevant. But when I move slower, I have a smoother stroke. And it's like I was making perfect contact like more often than I would when I'm trying to like swing for the fences.
Yeah. Huh.
So.
A learning.
Yeah. I learned a lot. But I got to play, which was the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
And I love the course by my parents.
And was it nice?
The weather wasn't like sunny, but it was like cool.
Yeah.
It was a good day to play.
Nice.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I was in Boston last week for work.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, what are you doing for your birthday? Even though I know similarly, I don't like to do stuff for my birthday either. Yep. So I was like, she's probably just going to want to get takeout from a spot she likes and hang out at home. So
nailed it.
I'll just see how that was when I get back.
And it was great. It was all I needed it to be. And yeah. Birthdays mean nothing to me.
Yeah. But Boston was good. I went to a Red Sox game, which people are like, oh, are you very into baseball? And I said, no, but I enjoy sitting outside on a nice day and eating a hot dog.
And you get a hot dog?
Or a glizzy.
Did you?
I've had a lot of people get angry about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
Not angry at us because we agreed that they're hot dogs,
and
but
it's
just the concept that exists for
glizzy.
people in general. And just to keep tying it back to episodes, I did have I'm going to say an embarrassing moment, even though I decided not to be embarrassed. So it's fine.
Ooh.
So we had some like speakers come in since like everyone was like flown into the office. So they're like, oh, growth mindset, blah, blah, blah. Learn how to storytell, blah, 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 you know? And they were really trying to get audience engagement by asking questions, which those things they typically do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hard pass. And apparently that's the personality of everyone I work with. They were really struggling to like get people to answer questions.
Oh shit.
And sometimes I was like, oh, now I feel uncomfortable. And so I answered one, and the woman was like, okay, and what else? And I was like, wow, that is my biggest fear, which is why I don't speak up in these things, because what I think is an obvious answer, like, what if it's not? And then that happens. And then I ruminated about it for a little bit. And I was like, you know what, Rachel? Who cares? You'll remember this. No one else is going to remember this. In that moment, they'll be like, huh, or might not even care.
In that moment, people were probably like, what a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, why would she handle it that way?
Well, then later that evening for the company outing, I was chatting with some like not C-suite executive, but like higher up than me. And he was like, you know, you experienced my biggest nightmare today. And he was like, that was very embarrassing for you. He's like, that's why I never speak up in those things, because that's my biggest fear. And I was like, wow, I was so proud of my growth for being like, no one cares about this. No one's going to think about it. Just whatever, Rachel. And for him to be like, I did notice.
Oh, no.
I've been thinking about it for hours. I'm going to bring it up to you at this company event and remember it forever.
Yeah.
Granted, he was like, no, but she was a bitch. Your answer was fine. He wasn't like, your answer was bad and that was embarrassing. He was like, it was embarrassing that she blew you off.
Yeah.
And so you know what I learned? Never speak up again.
You know, that's what it's kind of the message that she's giving
away.
you. Yeah. And everybody else on the call, was their takeaway as well.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not fostering an environment of inclusion and openness.
Wow, you pulled that out of your ass, but it was very corporate business speak, so I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that you called out that I pulled it out of my ass too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm proud of that too.
So we're gonna do another vase pull today.
Vase.
All right.
It's your turn.
I did not pull it.
It's your turn.
Please.
Oh.
I always think that I'm gonna like get out of screen when I do that, but
I love your bun.
Just thank you. I just yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, your hair looks nice today. I mean, your hair does look nice. I also think my bangs are working well for me today.
Agreed, 100%.
But you were just making fun of the height. That's fine.
Shit.
Okay, this is very overwhelming. Okay, we ready?
I'm nervous.
Screen time. Wow, that's kind of funny because in a way we were just talking about that with how we eat dinner.
Yeah, and watch TV. Yes. Oh, so screen time, I'm guessing, is going to include cell phones, any
any screen.
Computers and TVs.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't include like a jumbotron at a sporting event.
Yep, we're not including that.
Or a concert.
Which is weird though if you stare at the jumbotron while you're at a sporting event the entire time.
But what if you're at a concert and you're top? And that's the only way you can see Taylor Swift.
I was like, yeah, that's how we saw Taylor Swift at her Reputation concert. Yeah. Anyways, screen time. Okay. Yeah. Love this because I'm not on social media. Like, I have a Instagram, and that is the one thing, and I have set a limit because I refuse to spend more than an hour on Instagram a day.
Okay.
So I will say multiple times, depends. So I'm not like good at it. That little like thing says you've reached your limit.
You're like, no, I haven't.
And I'm like, no, I'm not done here. I will get lost in scrolling. But then I have the follow-up reminders that like every 20 minutes tells you to take a break.
And this is just for Instagram?
Well, that's the only thing I have.
Okay. I like how you think screen time is associated just with
Social media. Well, I was just thinking, like, that's when I
where I
use my
was like,
phone.
don't you have games on your phone and you're obsessed with your games?
I used to.
Oh, wait, you were like on a streak of playing your Harry Potter game every day, I thought.
Yeah, so that was mostly when I was like out of commission with knee surgery.
Yeah.
So like I finished the game.
Wait, I remember
I beat the Harry Potter
when
game.
in 2019, no, beginning of 2020, before COVID really hit, we went to a podcasting conference and I feel like I remember you being like, oh, I have to play my game today.
Yeah, I was really deep into June's Journey.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
It's awful. So it's a video game I had on my phone. I like puzzles, okay?
Yeah.
And I like hidden things. So in June's Journey, JJ, you are that person and you're like solving these things, but like each game that you're playing is you have to find the objects in the image that it tells you to find. So it's like it's basically
a highlights magazine.
That is exactly what it is.
That's amazing.
In a game version. And so I was like, I would always play that, and you had to play every day because there was like, man, I almost forget some of the stuff you were supposed to do. But
is this
like,
gonna get you back into June's Journey?
Yeah, you had to like get flowers to. It's a whole thing. I'm not getting back into it though. I removed it from the phone.
Oh, you were too addicted.
Yeah, no, I was spending like 3 hours a day on that game.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was deep in it.
The only game I have on my phone is Minesweeper because I'm an old lady and the UI user interface is I don't know if everyone knows what that is.
No, but I appreciated that.
Is horrible. I
just saw the green line thing.
Oh, okay. So it's something you're doing then, not what I'm doing.
You're right. Sorry.
The user interface is so annoying, but I refuse to like pay to use it. So the like $1.99 to like make it better. It's just like annoying to like highlight bombs versus like I don't know, it's just annoying to play, but I kind of forget that I have it and then a couple times a year I'm like, oh yeah, I could play some Minesweeper.
Love some Minesweeper. I feel like that makes me think that you also have Snake on your phone.
I don't, but I would like that.
Like that's the games that I played on phone.
During COVID, I got rid of Facebook. Well, my Facebook profile probably still exists, but I don't get on Facebook.
That's
it was bad for my mental health. So yeah, I pretty much just use Instagram, but I'll get in deep. I do not have time limits, so I don't know what the problem is.
I'd recommend setting one. And like definitely that's why I contribute screen time to my phone, because if you know me, you know I'm not good at texting. And I'm not proactive about like texting or calling. And I don't know what else I would use my phone for, because that's literally what I use my phone for.
I don't feel like you're a bad texter. You get back to me.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the next day.
Do not.
Oh, I'm better than that though.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
The next day is fine. I actually don't like how texting has become an assumption of you have to get back to the
your
person
availability. Yeah, that's a good call. But that is what that means. Like if I text you and you don't respond, you hate me.
Okay, good to know.
Kidding. I feel like that's what that message sends though.
Or people have other priorities. I especially people who have kids, I'm way more like, yeah, I don't know what you got going on. And you know what? Sometimes I'm just like not in the mental headspace to respond to your text. Or if it's just like a, hey, checking in, I'm like, oh, we're going to have to do a back and forth. And that's a lot for my thumbs right now. I actually I learned that I don't really like back and forth, like long catch up texting.
Yeah, I don't love that.
I don't really like talking on the phone. Unless I am doing an activity, like if I'm going on a walk or I'm driving in my car somewhere.
Yep. Driving in the car talking on the phone is the best thing ever.
Yeah. So really I'm so old fashioned. I just like to catch up in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find catching up over text annoying.
I do too. And that's when I'm like, I want to just call because I want to have a conversation. And I like, if I'm like catching up, I want to call. I want to talk on the phone.
Okay. We never talk on the phone.
But because I get my time with you in person.
You know what I prefer? Marco Polo. Not sponsored, but that's how I keep up with my friends. And if you all don't use it, you're going to be like, I don't want to use this. And then you will, and you're going to love it.
It's a video voicemail.
Yeah.
It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. So you can just be like, oh, and it's such a great way to keep up with the like daily nothingness of your friends' lives to feel like you're very connected, because there's no way I would call you and be like, oh my gosh, this guy just cut me off, but I'm fine, but I want to complain about it.
Yep.
But I will do that and send a little minute polo to my homies.
Which we've been doing for 10 years.
Okay, I haven't known you for 10 years.
What?
So
was it 8 years? I feel like Kai, shout out to Marco Polo friends.
I've been married for 7 years, and I did not know you when I got married.
So we met in 2019, 2018.
I think I started at Compare in 2018.
So 5 years.
Yeah. But I don't think we immediately started poloing then.
I feel like we started poloing maybe right when we left Compare, which is 2019.
Okay.
5 years. I feel like there's...
I mean, it was definitely pre-COVID, and that was 4 years.
4 years.
So 5 years makes sense to me. 10 years, I was like, that's impossible.
You know, my brain sometimes, I'm just like, time isn't real. So there's that.
I'm trying to think of related to screen time. I do not like if I'm talking to someone and they're scrolling through their phone.
Oh, well, that's just rude.
Yeah. Or just like, I think, so a lot of times I will start talking to Skylar and he will have already been doing something on his phone. And then I expect him to immediately stop what he is doing because I'm talking now, you know?
Oh, well, that's unreasonable.
I'm aware.
Okay.
But more so in my mind, I was like, this can't just be me. Because in my mind, I'm like, what I'm saying is always more important than scrolling. You can just stop scrolling to be like, oh, we can engage in conversation. Let's engage.
Yeah.
But I also realize that it's unfair for me to just be like, stop what you're doing. I'm ready to talk about something that you probably don't want to talk about right now. Because you're trying to disassociate and be on your phone.
That's what that is. Well, phone. I feel like you get into the same mindset whether you're scrolling through your phone or watching a TV show or whatever it is when it screens, is where you literally there's no outside world. Like, you could be talking and I will not hear a single word.
Well, that's why I'm like, people cannot do two things at once. Your attention is going to one of those things.
I agree with that.
Like, that's why
I like to think I can multitask.
People are just like, oh, we'll just have the webinar on in the background while you keep doing your work. And I'm like, I will hear that words are being said on this webinar, but I will not be consciously like taking anything in and like having any sort of critical thought.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be focusing on the task that I'm completing for work.
Yeah, I feel like I had mentioned to someone I like to listen to podcasts while I work. And they were like, so you're not listening to the podcast or you're not working? It's one or the other. And I was just like, well, it's probably more I'm not always consistently listening to the podcast. Yeah. But I might hear something that I'm like, I'm interested in that, and now I want to listen.
Yeah, I'll do that too. But I will specifically choose podcasts that I don't care about fully like grasping everything.
Yeah, so not our podcast.
Yeah, of course not. No way. But like, I couldn't listen to an audiobook while working because 100% I want to fully listen to the audiobook.
Yeah. I try to limit screen time. COVID was bad because I felt like all I did was watch TV 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, I just burned through TV shows. And I found really bad ones to watch because it felt better to me to be doing something. Sure. I guess.
Well, rather than just sitting in silence staring at a wall.
Yeah. Or scrolling through my phone because I still didn't like scrolling, even though, like, I think actually during COVID was when I started setting the limit because I found I was using, it might have turned into a competition because like Nathan was like, you've been on that thing all day. And I was like, yeah, well, so have you. And it's like, and we pulled up our time. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, I've been on that.
Yeah, it can be alarming. Yeah. While I do not keep track of how much I'm on my phone, every week my phone says like, you were on your phone for this many hours this week. And if it'll say like I think it actually says like you were on your phone like 7% more, 7% less than you were last week. Like it tracks that. And whenever it's less, I'm like, "Ugh, I'm a champion. Even though it's not something I'm actively trying to do. So like this week, because I was so busy last week being like in office and
Yeah.
doing work stuff that I'm sure it was like, your screen
Super.
time is down 40%. And I'm like, wow, I am a champion of my mental health.
So, okay, that is a good call because I think I agree with you that like, especially social media, but like just screen time in general, like disassociating yourself from the real world can be really bad for like mental health
Yeah.
and all that.
But it can
But like,
also be good.
yeah, like, is it really bad that you spend a lot of time on your screen?
I think you have to really like sit with yourself and like you're like, do I feel better after this? Because sometimes I think if you're feeling just like very overwhelmed and you need to disassociate for a little bit, it's probably can be helpful just to like scroll for 30 minutes and
Yeah.
like something funny or laugh like um but also when like 2 hours have passed, probably not so much. Maybe you should go outside for a little bit.
Yeah. And that's the thing I think about like with a kid. I feel like, if that ever happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, for two people who don't have children,
Yeah.
what's your hard take
Hard
on
take. Here's my hot take.
kids and screen time?
Like I feel like it's gonna have to be this like I've always thought initially, nope, I will never. I'm gonna kick them outside. And it's like, nope, can't do that because like outside's bad. Um
Wait,
there's a lot of bad things outside now.
well,
You used to be able to just like kick your kids outside and you'd go play in the streets. Now people will pull up in a white van and pop your kids on in them.
I mean, they said that when we were growing up too.
That's true.
I
Yeah,
actually,
that's fair.
I bet the statistics of like random kidnappings are probably the same now as they were
I absolutely
in the
love that you
90s.
said statistics. I love that reference. That is 100% where I like to.
Well, I'm just very curious because you remember when we were growing up with like Halloween candy and they're like, people are putting razor blades in
Yeah.
chocolate
Your
and
parents had to see what you got and
yeah, and
everything.
like stuffing weed and things. And I'm like, one, no one's just giving out free weed. So like a 7-year-old can get a stone.
Fentanyl, maybe.
Yeah, which
Just
also
kidding.
like doesn't make sense. Like no one is just like, here's some free drugs.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to make sense.
But then I think I read something that it was like, um, that razor blade thing actually never happened to anybody.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Like I
That's
wish we had
that
someone
can't be
to like
real.
fact check it. Like I don't think it actually happened. Or maybe like it happened, but it was like the mom who put it in her kid's candy because she was psycho or something.
I feel like it's one of those things like that's gonna make me think it's the things that parents said that was never true. Like having a light on in the car would make them crash the car.
Yeah.
And you realize as you get older, they just made that shit up.
Or like quicksand was going to be a bigger problem than it turned out to be.
Seriously, it's not quick at all. It's not
Wait,
quick.
wait. Have you found yourself sinking in quicksand and been like, this isn't fast at all. I can get out of here?
No, but like when you watch like the National Geographic stuff or like and they're like, so don't panic because if you move more, the faster you sink. And all the while they've gone like it's 15 minutes and they've gone this far down. They're
But
like,
how do you get out? Someone still has to pull you out. I'm just like,
yeah,
where
you still need help.
is quicksand? Like, I think it's in like
It doesn't exist.
jungles and deserts, which I know are two very drastically different climates. But like places where kids, you're not just like walking to the treehouse and being like, oh, quicksand.
Yeah, no, you're not doing that. It
And
doesn't
I
make
feel like
sense.
with kidnappings, I mean, it's usually this is going to get pretty dark. I was
Oh,
like kidnappings, rape, the percentages are like lean heavily towards people you know, not
which
strangers.
is, yeah, that's very true. Damn,
Um,
that's just disgusting.
but someone offering me candy in a van, I was like, yeah, that is the biggest fear as an 8-year-old.
Well,
But I'm
yeah,
like,
that's
does
what we
that
were
happen?
told.
Like, I know it does happen. And I think it's also one of those things where, like, if it happens to one, it's very hard to trust the statistics and just be like, yeah, there's a point oh oh whatever chance of that happening to your kid. But just the fact that it can happen and it's your kid
Well, you don't
makes
want
it
to be at
like,
0.001%.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like though, I had said previously that I wouldn't want, I'm not going to give my kid any type of like something screen. They're not going to get a phone until they can drive, which is what I did. They're not going to get in. And now I'm like,
I do feel like it's so different now, though.
it's so different. And people that I know that have kids, they're like, no, because if that kid will shut up for 30 minutes to watch a show, you're going to let them get on the screen to do it.
Yeah.
So that you can have a moment of sanity. So like, and now I'm like, okay, I get that. Like I don't have such a hard stance. And I'm probably going to listen more to the people that have actually been through shit.
Yeah. My youngest niece loves Sesame Street. And she is freaking smart. Like how old is she turning? I don't know, 3 or 4, but like she can count really high. She knows all of her ABCs, like all this stuff that her mom's like, "Oh, our older child did not know all this at this level."
Oh.
And she's like, it's because of Sesame Street. Like, people are like, "Oh, it's because blah, blah." And she's like, she's learned all this from Sesame Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. So screen time can be
And
valuable.
granted, maybe she also is just like hyper intelligent in that too. But
that's
it
what's
is
teaching her.
like
Like that's
you can tell because the way she says things are like in the rhyme, like it helps her remember and like.
yeah, which is the way it should be because they're trying to change all the ways you do everything.
Have they changed the
Don't they change the way you say the ABCs now?
what?
Yeah. Isn't it like a different song? The whole different tune?
I not heard this.
I feel like that might be a thing. And I could also be making that up.
A B C D E F G.
That's awful. How did you even do that?
I don't know. It was hard.
I mean, well, I guess you still kind of stuck with the same like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
No, I did not. I said A B C D.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know how you're doing it.
J K L M N O P.
Element of P though it stayed the same.
L O M N O P.
L L M N O P.
Yeah, you sound like a weird AI bot.
I heard it. I heard that
AOP.
AOP. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
also
feel like that's a
think
thing.
I really hate when like I see like parents judging other parents for giving their kid a phone or an iPad or something because I'm like, you are seeing 2% of this person's day.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
No fucking clue.
And also, do you want to enjoy your dinner? Because you only will if my kid gets to play this game on their phone.
I would have. It's funny because I feel like a lot of people might think that like, oh, people that don't have kids are the ones that are judging the most. I honestly think that it's people with kids because they probably think they know better because of how it worked with them.
Or they're like, well, I feel like a lot of judgment could come from a place of jealousy. Like they don't allow their kids to do that, but they see the parents having a nice dinner. So they're
Oh.
like, oh, we wish we could do that, but we're better than them.
And
so
you're
we
doing it
don't.
wrong.
Yeah. I also just feel like kids are going to be fucked up in their own special way, no matter what you do. And like we were chatting in a recent episode, like I watched a lot of TV as a kid. I played on the computer a lot. I also played outside a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's a
know
good balance.
another one of my nieces, she'll be like, can I play on the phone? And then she'll do that for a little bit and then be like, will someone play soccer with me?
Nice.
Like,
That's promising.
so yeah, I don't know. Lots of opinions and I
Yeah.
don't have a child. So
I
we
mean,
can
I have a
cat screen
child.
time.
I have a Penny child who's making her way in here right about
Yeah,
now.
Penny, do you get screen time?
She sleeps through everything, so there's that.
We sometimes put on cat TV for Ruby.
Cat T. Oh, so like I know people that put dogs on the TV.
Yeah.
Come on up, pup. Sweet little baby girl. And then their dogs are like hyper like focused on the TV. I
Yeah.
feel like we've tried that with Penny and she doesn't see it or she doesn't care.
Well, we used to do it with Ruby and she would just like zoink out like you would expect a kid to, just staring at the TV. But then she wanted to engage, and so we can't do it anymore because she would like jump up and try to bat at like the squirrels and the birds on the TV.
Oh shit. Yeah, she loves the squirrels, so
You heard that?
yeah, you gotta be careful. So I don't know if I would want that to be on the TV because I've seen those reels scrolling through my shit.
Yeah.
I've seen them post pictures of like a dog that like jumps at the TV, and I feel like she might do that.
Yeah.
I like to think she wouldn't, but she might.
Well, I really do like how we started with like what a perfect segue because like, do you watch TV when you eat dinner? Even
Yeah,
though I do want to say that I'm like, oh, but family dinners growing up,
yeah,
what I really enjoy. Well, we did them up until a certain age because then we all had like our activities and things like that. But I know whenever we like sat down at the table at a family and it wasn't just like, okay, go make your plate.
yeah,
That was
no,
such an enjoyable thing.
yep,
And I like the idea of that if I'm to become a parent. But I also like the idea of being aware that I've had a very long, stressful day and being able to just watch an episode of TV.
yeah. I feel like you do that after because like that's Nathan and I don't talk as much when we watch TV because we're
Well,
watching
yeah, that would
TV.
be rude.
Yeah, and so I feel like I like and the separation is nice, and then like we finish work, have dinner, sit down and have a meal together, and you kind of can just like talk. I like that, but it's not an every night thing. Like you
Yeah.
don't necessarily need that. You might need that with your kids, and that's maybe why we enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. And because I think with Skylar and I both working from home, we do, like, depending on how busy the day is, we might get like
Time
a
to
half
catch
an
up.
hour and just like have our little catch up. Or we're already at home right as the day ends and we'll do that and talk before like starting dinner or whatever.
Yep.
Whereas before it's like you only have the dinner time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like you're dealing with a commute home, you don't talk during the day, and then if you just immediately start watching TV and you're just like, wow, how are you even doing?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's kind of I feel like it's a benefit of working from home now. Like I don't want to lose that ever.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah. Like it stresses me out thinking of being like, okay, so I get off work, I'm now home at like 6:30, gotta start, be like, okay, what are we doing for dinner? Or like heaven forbid if you have to run an errand after work.
Yeah. I don't know
Um,
how mothers did it. Like I think about that. How much
yeah,
easier it's going to be to raise a kid if you don't have to spend an hour commuting back and forth to places.
yeah. And even to think, okay, now I have to get off work. I have to pick up my kid from daycare. I have to bring them home, get them situated, start making dinner. Not that
It's
the
there's just so
husband can't
many
make dinner,
benefits.
but
Yeah, but like there's
or
so
wife.
many benefits.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
Yeah. I did enjoy being in office the last week, but I also was like, that was a lot.
Yeah, you're worn out.
Yeah.
And I like when we do like on-site and gatherings where we bring everybody in and do go into the office. I like that. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want that every day. I want to be, and I have that. I have like I'm very fortunate. I have the ability to choose if I want to go into the office or not,
Yeah.
and when.
Same, but it'll just cost me $200 to get there.
Gotta fly to
Yeah.
Boston.
Um, okay. How do you feel about if you are the driver in a car and the passengers are on their phone?
So if you're talking on the phone on a phone call and that you chose to call someone, get the fuck out my car. Um, like no, we're not doing that. Like I'm driving. If you want to be on your phone texting, I don't care. You can text, you can scroll through Instagram, I don't care. But just don't talk. Cause like then I'm hearing half of a conversation and I'm like, what the fuck?
Now, see,
If you need to
okay,
talk, talk to me.
from from my perspective, if they were just like calling someone because they're bored and wanted to chat, no. But
Yeah.
Skylar, sometimes if I'm driving and he's the passenger, he'll be like, do you mind if I call my dad? And I
Well, that's
always am
different.
like, no, because it's like a good time to be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna just like check in with my dad.
I'm
And
good
that
with
I'm like,
that.
yo, please do. Perfect time for that.
I'm good with that. Yeah. Like in those scenarios, I'm like, yeah, if it's but in my mind, when you're calling someone, you're just calling to chat. Um, you're bored. Hey, I'm gonna
But
go
that's
ahead and
what
fill
you're
this
doing
time.
with a parent too.
Yeah. That's why I think that like because that's happened too. It's like, oh, hey, this is so and so. Let me just like talk to him real quick.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. if you're like dragging on a conversation though that you said was gonna just be real quick, I might be a little irritated.
Does that happen to you?
It's only when I'm driving. If you're driving, I'm the passenger princess, so you do whatever you want. Now, don't text and look at your phone, but like you can get on the phone and talk to somebody.
So.
Like I'm all for that.
Okay.
You're driving, I'm just passenger princessing, enjoying my life.
Yeah, I think I get annoyed. So this has been like a contention with Skylar and I. If I'm driving somewhere and he's scrolling through his phone, because I'm like, I can't scroll through my phone. Whereas other people are like, I don't care. I'm driving and we're not talking.
Yeah.
And so I've realized that I'm a little bit of an asshole. But my rule now is if I want to start having conversation, I get to have that.
Yeah.
Like as a driver, you get to make the rules.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also was like, man, if we're driving like 3 hours somewhere, why am I like, you can't be on your phone just because I can't?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
But if we're going like 7 minutes down the road, I'm like, you don't need to be on your phone for that 7 minutes. Do you feel differently?
Yeah, I mean, if we're not having an active conversation that, we want to have, I don't care what you do. Like 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like
you're nicer than me. I also think in my head, for some reason, I'm like, Skylar's going to listen to this episode and be like, you little, like, I'm like, I admit that I'm irrational and being unfair, but I don't want to admit that to him. I think I'm like having this realization now. So when I'm the passenger, I'm never on my phone because I get motion sickness.
Oh.
And so I just assume I'm like, you don't need to be on your phone. You're choosing to disassociate from me. And now I'm realizing he's like, no, we're just not doing anything. You're listening to a podcast that you like that I don't care about.
Yep.
So I'm going to scroll on my phone because I don't get motion sickness.
Yeah. That's a good realization to come to.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we could have this therapy session.
Yeah. There might be a little bit of jealousy in that too.
Yeah, probably.
Because like I will say I'm very fortunate that I could read, work on a laptop, scroll through a phone. I can do whatever I want. I'm not going to get any like sick at all.
Yeah. Because he's like, well, I don't care if you're on your phone. And I'm like, but I choose not to be, which is actually, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense now. Look at that realization.
Wow.
Skylar, you're welcome.
He's gonna be like, I'm always the passenger. Just scroll now.
Well, like that is the thing I told Nathan. I was like, look, like that's comes with this marriage. I don't know if you realize that, but I will ride everywhere. I'm a passenger princess. You now drive this car.
Okay.
It is now if we're both going somewhere, you're driving.
Yeah, see, because
he's driving.
I get motion sickness. I do feel like, which I actually prefer to be the passenger, but I also prefer to drive.
Interesting. I only prefer to be the passenger when I feel safe with the driver. Other than that, I want to be in control.
Yeah.
I need to be in control.
So would you let me drive you somewhere?
Yeah,
you
already have
before.
Yeah.
But I always feel like whenever, well, you're smiling because you're like, yeah, I don't feel safe with you.
It's not what I said.
But it's what your face said, Jen. I think every time I drive you somewhere is okay. I like driving when it's like someone who I'm not like, ooh, catch up in the car. Because like when it's with my husband, I can just like not mentally check out, but I'm not like, I don't know. It's different. Like,
yeah, no, I
think see and talk every day. Where if I'm driving someone like a work colleague, where it's kind of like, okay, I'm more like conscious of the things that I'm saying, or with a friend where you're just like story, like really catch up.
Yep.
And I feel like I get very distracted, and I don't like feeling that way when I'm driving because every time I've driven us somewhere, I miss the exit.
Yep.
Every time.
It's funny.
And it's because I'm just paying attention
to the conversation. I get that.
Yeah.
It's not that you're not paying attention to the road either. I feel like we should clarify that.
Yeah.
It's that we're just driving and chatting, and you forget that you actually need to go, like you were going somewhere.
Yeah. And it's like, maybe it would be different if we were on some like 3-hour road trip. We're just like on the same road forever. But when it's just around town, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was the exit. Okay.
Whoops.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
spend more time with you, so I miss the exits
I
on
never
purpose.
complained. You may have just interpreted something through my smile that isn't necessarily true.
Necessary?
Necessary.
Is
You know
that
how I've
how
said
you
that.
say it?
I like saying necessary.
Oh.
I don't know why.
I think
It's like a
you
weird.
have shared that. I think every time you say it, I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing that I do. We're just gonna pretend like it's normal though.
I was just trying to think of other things that I do with my phone. Like I listen to audiobooks and I listen to podcasts and I'm like, well, that's not screen time.
Well, you're not staring at the screen, right?
You're right. I guess because you can be doing something else.
Yeah.
But it's weird that like, oh, sometimes I'll just like lay on my bed if I have a headache or something and like be listening to a podcast in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is acceptable. But if I was to just be doing nothing and watching TV, that's like, oh, that is not a good quality. You know?
Or yeah, I
It's
get what
weird
you're
how we
saying.
classify
Yeah.
entertainment. Like if you enjoy reading more than watching TV, you're an elite intellectual. But if
Oh,
you
really?
enjoy watching TV and not reading books, it's like
I feel like that might be you more of a bias
it's
there.
so a thing when you find out people don't like to read.
I mean, I don't know. Because like I like to read, but I also like to watch TV, and
Well,
I've
me too.
never.
I do both things.
I don't say that like readers are superior.
I think I am not saying they're superior, but okay, if you were like, if I said to you, wow, I read for 7 hours yesterday, and then you said, yeah, I watched TV for 7 hours yesterday, would you be like, Rachel wasted her time or Jen wasted her time?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I say that's fair. That's
And it is, it's not like you're like if you're reading some like smutty fairy novel, granted reading is good for the brain and all
some
that kind of
smutty
stuff,
fairy
but I just
model.
think it's funny that like you're just choosing to get your entertainment in a different way. But one, it's like, oh, you're reading porn, you're an intellectual versus you're watching.
No, I think it's like assumed if you're reading that is a better way to spend your time than if you're watching a TV show or
Yeah.
something.
And I'm sure there also is like psychological stuff of like why watching TV isn't as good for you as reading a book or something like that. But
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably more has to do with like you're challenging your mind more when you read, regardless of what content you're reading, because you are actively using your brain to read or to like
what if
take
you watch
away
TV
like
with subtitles?
yeah, I guess.
Then do you get the best of both worlds?
Well, I mean, you're still actively using your mind to like pay attention to what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I could say yeah, I don't I don't know why one should be better than the other or why one gets a bad rap from the over the other.
But
It
they
does.
do.
It does.
And I'm sure, actually, I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's some scientific
Reasoning for
reason
that. Yeah.
because even being like read to or reading as kids, this helps your brain develop. And what they're like, yeah, you should read and not just watch Blue's Clues.
Yeah, probably. The does it count as screen time if I read on a Kindle versus an actual book?
See, I would say no, but that is a screen.
It's a screen. I'm torn there.
Yeah.
And
But
like
you're
I'm not
reading, and
flipping
that's
through the
the
pages. It's not like
elitist, not
mentality.
elitist, that's like the highest level of intellectual hobby you can have. I
What's
feel like as being like an avid reader. Like if
mm,
someone says, "Oh, I read a lot," don't
I
you just
immediately think
assume
they're
they're
better.
smart?
They're
Yeah,
just smarter. Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
I do that.
And you're like, "Well,
It's a subconscious
I have
bias,
an
I
AMC
guess.
movie pass, so."
Shit. You may be an avid reader, but I have an audiobook subscription.
Right, I have one more punch and I get a free popcorn. So,
Oh, yeah. That's actually so funny, the superiorness there. I don't know why. There is probably a scientific reason why. And I hope that people that read though, it's like I hope there's not actively
I think they're better.
I hope that, and I say that because as someone who likes to read but also likes to watch TV, I like to think that when someone were to say, "Hey, I binge watched the entire new season of Bridgerton
Yeah, I've
in
done
one
that.
evening,"
It took
and
me 2, but
okay,
I'm
and I
better than
hope
you.
my first thought wouldn't be, "What a waste of time, you vapid human."
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it is, because I mean, shit, my first thought immediately for that specific scenario is, damn it, I haven't gotten a chance to watch Bridgerton yet, and I will binge watch it when my
Yeah.
husband is in Rome,
And it'll take
Georgia.
Oh gosh, I was like, he's going to Rome?
Georgia.
Okay, yeah, that's an important caveat.
Yeah.
Just for his golf trip
This
that he
is
does
for
every
the
year?
roast that he does on Memorial Day weekend every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Jen's time.
You're like, it's actually a vacation for me. I'm getting warm.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to
hot up
wrap this
here.
up, but then there was something I wanted to say about screen time, reading books, but it's gone, and I feel like I really wanted to say it.
I gotta pull it out from somewhere.
No, it's gone, and we can't just have dead air, so.
Well, we can, but it's not fun for us.
All right. Well, y'all, thanks so much for listening/watching. We would love, love, love if you really engaged with us in any way on social media, sharing our stuff, liking our posts, leaving a review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I would like that a lot. That would
Okay.
make me happy.
Make Rachel happy.
Even if you don't watch us on YouTube, just subscribe.
It doesn't hurt anyone.
Yeah. And wow, my thoughts are all over the place today.
Well, we did
I was
another
gonna
jar pull
say
today, so
one
make
more
sure you send
thing.
stuff for the jar.
Yeah, send
so we
stuff
can
for
pull
the
your
jar.
stuff.
Tell a friend. That was what I wanted to say.
Look at
Refer
that.
a friend.
Refer a friend.
Yeah.
We're referable.
Yeah, I would say so.
Totally.
Look at this cute dog. That's a
Yeah.
reason to watch on YouTube.
Exactly.
All right.
Agreed.
Peace out, homies.
Bye.
What if people are like, wow, it looks like you're not wearing pants? And I was like,
I'm
I'm
not.
not.
I chose to just enjoy the hot weather outside fully nude.
Well, I'd be wearing underwear.